الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين أبي القاسم محمد اللهم صل على محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأراضين روحي وأرواح العالمين لترى بمقدمه في الله. السلام عليكم.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
I'll start with thank you very much for. I'll start with thanking everybody to join the RSR 15. Inshallah, we'll get our first get the best of benefit, inshallah, and everybody else, hopefully, Allah and Ahlul Bayt will give them the help to get some benefit. What we are trying to discuss in these 3 months is how can we know Allah in a better way. So the title will be How Can I Know You, My Lord. I want to start with why can't we see Him? And we use see rather than know, because when we say blind, I'm blind from knowing Him. Blind as a reverse to see. So I want to take you to the Quran, because the Quran is beautifully talking about the see, and it tells us how different is the Quranic words than the translated words. So see in Quran comes in 3 words: unbur and ara, anbur, ara, and ubsir. And each one is quite different, really. All of them can be translated as see, but the first one is anbur, is when I look at something but I'm not sure where it is, so I'm trying to find where it is. So I look with wonder. This is anbur, and then after that I'll find it. So it will be ara. I see more clearly, so I find it, but I don't know exactly what it is. So I want to know more, and then I reach ubsir. So I know with understanding. Now, why I'm talking about this? Because Quran used in one ayah used the 3 see. وَتَرَاهُمْ يَنْظُرُونَ إِلَيْكَ وَهُمْ لَا يُبْصِرُونَ. So you can see ara, anzur, ubsir. In the translation, it's all look and see. It just doesn't make the sense that the Quran wants. So you will see them looking at you, but they see not. The actual translation, when we have better understanding for these words, and you see them, so you know, because you are seeing. So you are ara, I see fully. ينظرون إليك, they look at you, they see you, but they are wondering, they don't know exactly what's going on. And when they do that, they have no insight, so they have no perception. And this beautifully demonstrated in this verse when Allah talking about Musa alayhi salam, and when Musa came at our appointed time and his Lord spoke with him. So we can see the difference. قَالَ رَبِّي أَرِنِي أَنظُرْ إِلَيْكَ. He said, that's Moses said, my Lord, show me yourself. Show me, so أَرِنِي, I want to see you. Show me yourself that I may look at you. This is a different translation, but I want you to look at the ara and anzur. Ara is see with details, anzur is look at with wonder. So what Musa alayhi salam is telling Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is, Arini, I want to see you, because I'm looking and I cannot see. I want to see. Arini anzur ilayk, I am doing the looking at, but I cannot see very well. And we don't know exactly whether Musa alayhi salam want to see, whether, or actually he want to take it more. But the answer came, Allah said, you will not see me. But if you want to perceive me, look at the mountain. And if it should remain in its place, then you can see me, because this material, it means if this big mountain, this big material can stand me, so you can also. But what will happen? when Allah manifested himself. Now, manifested, tajalla, is very important, because in many translations you'll find when Allah appeared to the mountain, and you will wonder, why would Allah not appear to Musa and appear to mountain? I mean, Musa is much higher place than the mountain. So he did not come. He tajalla. Tajalla means, for example, Allah manifests himself with mercy when you see the most merciful people, or he manifests himself with Razzaq when he gives. But this is not him. This is just a manifestation of him. So when he manifests his power to the mountain grounded to the earth, and Musa fell down senseless. Because now, and that's what we want to reach, the perception. So knowing Allah by perception, you can go through all the philosophy, and this is because you are using a limited creation, so you won't reach. Because philosophy is fine and you can reach the whole thing, and it's really a good start. But you need to believe that the real perception, it comes through His prescription and what He will guide you to. Philosophy is a good thing as a start, but it's not a goal. Right, so why Allah sent Islam then? From what we talked about, we can have some perception why Islam was sent. But to understand that, we need to know what Islam is. And Islam in general means surrender, right? Surrender to God. The beauty of this name Islam, in all religion, it came to actually all the religions named according to either a place or a person. Christianity from Christ, Judaism from Judah, Hinduism from India, Hindu, Buddhist from Buddha, and so on. So all the religion named according to either a place, a people, or a person. Islam is the only religion which expresses an idea. And many people try to call Islam Mohammedism, but Muslims, according to the Prophet and Imam's teaching, refuse that totally. We are Muslims. We are surrendered. So this is the meaning. But we need to know, if we want to know Allah, we want to surrender to Him. Now, what does know mean then? Let's know first what surrender means first. Okay. We all say we are Muslim, so we are all saying that we surrender. But the reality is, our action is it surrender. When you surrender by action, what does it mean? What does it mean when you surrender by action? Like there is a tyrant leader and really you are surrendered to him. I'm not saying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not a tyrant leader, but just for us, for our limited mind to understand it. What does it mean? You follow whatever he said, right? Obeying, exactly.
Total control. He has total control of you. Total
control, right. So this is by action. You can say, oh, I surrender to you, but then you can do whatever you like. This is not a surrender. The real surrender is by action. Our problem is, we always feel we are quite independent. We do whatever we like. And even if we want to surrender, we surrender by choice. Right? So that's all from what we've been fed through the culture, through, especially in where we are now. Independence is very important. I mean, the first thing they think of, I have to be independent from my parents, so I need to come out. Independence. I have to be independent so I can live. And that's the big misconception that the shaitan has put us in. When we are independent, when we feel that we're totally independent from Allah, is the problem. Because really Allah would not leave us for a second. If He does leave us for a second, we will perish. Because He's everywhere, isn't He? He fed us everywhere. He actually controls everything around us. If we're really independent, we should be able to do that, but we can't. This is applied both for atheists and Muslim. For atheists, their problem is the existence of God, because they are so much independent, they think, and they are so much into their mind, So they think that they have the power to judge, and they have a problem with perceiving because they are using the mind, which is a limited creation of Allah, so they cannot go there. But the problem with the Muslim is about the same, because they are still think they are independent. They are an identity, or they are something in front of the whole thing. And that's what keeps them separate from God and keep them losing the main thing. And that's why they cannot know Him. So they keep on missing. We are totally dependent. We are not independent. To understand this, if we think about 200 years ago, there's somebody who lived and died. Are they still alive? No, right? So they went through the phases. They would start from baby to till childhood, adulthood, and then old and grave. So they formed a wave, didn't they? So it's like a wave, alright? But then died, right? How many waves over centuries, over 200? So many waves, isn't it? But is life still continues? Yes. So we are only a wave. This will take us to the big ocean example. You can see lots of waves here. Each wave has some character from water, isn't it? It does have something from the sea, but it's not the sea, right? So it has lots of the characters from the sea, but it unfortunately limited by time, and limited by place, and limited by abilities. It's so much limited, and this thing that it took is from Allah. Allah said, وَنَفَخْتُ فِيهِ مِنْ رُوحِي, breathe into him of my spirit. So some of that in us, but it's limited. So we are a wave, and there are so many waves. They come and go, but the sea always there. We can choose to be a more effective wave if we leave something more effective, and we'll come after that. We'll talk about it later. So what will prevent us from knowing Him Almighty is whatever makes us feel we are separate. Because once we feel we are independent, we are separate, we cannot know Him. So it's me. What prevents me from knowing Him is me. And this identity, or the ego that I have, the I-ness that I build. And how does I-ness build itself? It keeps on keeping a boundary for itself, right? So usually, as we learned, he invaded my personal space, isn't it? It's a personal space, so I should not invade the personal space. And I keep on building this space. And this space, I build it to myself, because I believe it. No, can anybody see my space? But I can see it. I can feel it. When you come close, my space. What does the lion do to keep its space? That's right, it's peace around. That's exactly what we do in our mind. So unfortunately, the ego keeps on thriving on conflict. The lion keep on fighting to keep the border. We are fighting to keep our border, while Allah bring tranquility. And that's the beauty of Ala bi dhikrillah tatma'innu qulub. Verily, by the remembrance of Allah, hearts are at ease. So Allah created us to reach Him, and He wants to help us. So actually He sent guidance for that. What prevents us from reaching Him is we are not surrendering. We do say we are Muslims, and Islam is surrender. He sent us a guidance, and we want to surrender for Him. Why we are not surrendering? Because we do what we want, not what He wants. So I do what I want rather than what Allah wants, and I will keep on doing that. And until, unfortunately, I would not know Him until I reach to that stage. I want that I don't want. And most of our ulama are working hard on that. And you think this is a philosophical thought, but think about it practically. When I say I want that I don't want, if I want to go out, well, that's I want. I want to see what He wants, what Allah wants, and then I will reach to I want, I don't want. And it's come to the small details in my life. When I eat, when I do anything, is that what I want or what He wants? And you will find that sometimes it can be difficult when we go to this practical detail of it. But it's easy when we practice it. So, why are we not surrendering then? We believe in ourselves. And this is actually the general teaching, isn't it? Believe. You will see this in most of the movies. Believe you can make it and you will make it. Believe. And actually, psychologically, they want to say that we have to be confident. But unfortunately, we are building the overconfidence. And when we are overconfident, we think we are in front of Him Almighty. And this historically has happened. You know, in Judaism, they think they can stand in front of Allah. And in the Old Bible, or in Torah, you know, they think that Isaac alayhi salam and Yaqub alayhi salam, they have this wrestling with Allah, and they won the wrestle. So they can manage to do that. Yeah, so unfortunately, human being has eluded themselves to go, unfortunately, in that line. So overconfidence goes to arrogance, and we know who's arrogant in the world. We know who's arrogant around us is those who overconfident. They believe in themselves, and from where this comes? It comes from excess of things. In the old days, they have excess of money, so oh, we are the rich, you cannot reach us. And we collect, like what Qarun said, this is the money because I am clever, so I got more money. Power is like what Fir'aun eluded, and actually what nowadays also you see, those powerful, they think they are so good and so strong. But really, our nowadays problem is excess of knowledge. We think we have lots of knowledge. And like one of the youth told me once, you don't want me to believe in somebody who lived 14 centuries ago, and I know much better than him now. So he's talking about Muhammad sallallahu alaihi, because he thinks that, oh well, Muhammad didn't know computer, and I do. So excess knowledge gives this overconfidence that I can reach, and they don't know what Google can give them all over in general. So excess of things can lead to arrogance, and our arrogance is what we think that we are knowledgeable, we think that we are independent, we think that we can reach alone without His help. كلا إن الإنسان ليطغى أن رآه استغنى. In fact, man crosses the limits because he deems himself to be free of need. Now, you may say, no, I don't deem I'm free of need. But the reality, we do. Because when we think that, unless my mind accepts things, I don't do it. And we miss the main point, that the mind is quite limited. So, this is with the atheist, but the same with Muslim, because that's what the Muslims do. So let's take a practical example for that. So practically, all of us, we say we want to surrender, but we don't know what Allah wants. There's lots of ahkam around us. There is makruh, mustahab, haram, halal. I mean, there is haram, halal, recommended and not recommended. How do I know what Allah knows? I mean, probably the first answer will be, well, you need to know your fiqh anyway. And that's exactly what the ulama says, because those ulama who want to teach manners and akhlaq, they don't accept a student unless the student is mujtahid. What does that mean? You may say this is an overkill, but it's for 2 points. Think about it. Why would they do that? Why they ask for somebody to master fiqh before they teach them anything else?
So they're ready because they want to surrender?
So they went, this is one, because
Allah's rule.
Excellent, that's two. So one of them is because they mastered, so they have the car to drive through, and also to get this car, it's a lot of hard work. So actually they got the discipline to to reach there. So unless they have these two, they cannot go. You may ask me, why are we talking about this now then? Well, I mean, this is just for us to know, so inshallah we can go further. So the real answer, I mean, in practice, for example, you want to buy a house, you want to go a picnic, and all this is not haram. But the question is that what Allah wants or what I want? And if I want, what's wrong with that? Is there anything wrong with me wanting to buy a house? There's nothing wrong, right?
But it will increase your ego, I guess. Or
so really, I have to see where Allah wants in it. If I want to buy a house just to, because I think if I collect more money, I'll be better off. And if I collect more money, I can leave it to my children, and so on. So all that is what I want, and that comes from me, depending on myself. But if I am actually building a house to secure a shelter for my children in my life, that's good. This is one of the recommendations from Allah. Allah wants me to do that. So Allah wanted that, so it is what He wants. But if I want an extra 3 or 4 houses, I need to ask myself, is that something He wants me to do? And if He does, what is it that He wants me to do this for? Really, I need to see what He wants, and then I can progress. So the simple answer, if you want to know whether this is what you want or Allah wants, remove I. Just remove the I want and see whether you'll find what He wants, and then you'll reach. So when this happens, we will be still human, but we will be human with no personal will. Our will is what Allah wants. And if somebody reached to that stage, we reach to that description Allah gave about the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So how He described him? وَمَا يَنْطِقُ عَنِ الْهَوَى إِنْ هُوَ إِلَّا وَحْيٌ يُوحَى. Nor does he speak out of his own desire. It's but an inspiration that inspires. It's beautiful. It means that the Prophet ﷺ was really not walking by what he wants at all. He was mainly an application of what Allah wants on the earth. And to reach that state, well, He is the best. We know He is the best of creation, and He is the best application. But this is the goal in front of us. And that's why He described Him. But you will not unless God's will. So He has no will at all. He reached to I want it, I don't want. And how the Prophet described Imam Ali alayhi salam, he said, do you want to see dead walking? Frightening, isn't it? It's like a zombie. Not really. And actually the Sahaba, the companions were frightened. What do you mean you want us to see somebody dead and walking? He said, if you do, look at Ali. Look at Ali bin Abi Talib and you say somebody is dead and walking. What does that mean? It means Ali reached to the stage that he has no will. So he passed the limitation of this life. So he died. He killed his ego. So his ego is dead. So once he reached that, he is a walking dead. But he actually, in reality, he is more alive. So what is the most difficult thing to see in death? Because when we say death, everybody frightened. What's the most difficult thing in death, do you think?
Leaving the ego.
That's quite right.
Leaving the body.
So the main thing that we feel that when we look at the mirror, we think we are looking at ourselves. When we look at the mirror, we think we see this body as ourselves. We see our thinking as ourselves. We see what we test as ourselves. All these things which is related to this material world is not our reality. So suddenly we lose all that. We lose our identity. And once we lose we're frightened. But our reality is totally different. And death, it's just a transformation from a world, from one world to the other. But we are frightened because we think that we look like this. And actually this is not us. This is just a vehicle for us. So we made this illusion of ego. And once we leave it, we are frightened. So for this, our beloved Prophet said, Mutu qabla an tamutu. Die before your death. Kill this ego. Kill this thing that you look at before you die. If you do that, you will reach to the stage of no fear. لا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون. There will be no fear concerning them, nor will they grieve. And that's understandable. Why should they? Because they have seen, or actually they know now it's not a reality. If anything, they will have a joy of seeing the other reality, well, if they practice well. Now, the question comes here, well, I should not be afraid of death then. Interestingly, Imam Musa Kalam once he saw somebody saying that, and he said, "Oh, do you have any special relation with God? Are you a relative?" He said, "No, he's not relative with God." He said, "Well, have you had lots of assets there?" I said, "No." He said, "Why are you not afraid then?" So we are afraid of death, and we want a longer life. It's just like when you are in a test. You want more time to do better. Yes, for that, sure. But not to afraid of death. Well, you are not doing anything in your exam and not afraid. This is kind of stupidity. So definitely not in that sense. So Imam Ali said, "Istahinu bil maut, fa inna mararatahu fi khawfih." Do not afraid of death, as its bitterness is in our fear from it. We are fear from this transition, but actually we are fear from the after, not the death itself, because we want to do better for that. But death is a transformation, and if we feel that we are not this ego, we should not fear of this transition. When he described the muttaqeen, the pious people, he describes that they lived the life by bodies. Their spirits were attached to the heavenly positions. So that's how his friends were. So how do we build our ego? How this ego illusion come to us? How we forms it? In childhood, the first thing when the baby born, the baby is totally connected to Allah. He does not have ego when he get born. But the problem is he has this body, and the body start giving him bala, giving him challenge. The baby will feel lonely, isn't it? He suddenly comes to a totally strange world. I mean, recently we went to a country that they don't speak our first or second language, and we are so isolated to start with, but we are lucky at least we have sign language. This poor baby does not have sign language, does have no communication with them. It's frightening, it's total loneliness, and this is a big challenge. And suddenly he had pain, and he doesn't know how to tell the surrounding, I do have pain, because, well, the hunger pain, I mean. And then he wet himself and defecate on himself and smelly, and he doesn't know what to do. So the only thing the baby can do, cry and kick a fuss. And when the baby kick a fuss, somebody come and care for him. So that's the way. I kick a fuss and somebody will fix it to me. So whenever I have a problem, this is a lesson that will be with me for life. Whenever I have a problem, I just kick a fuss and then somebody will help, which is not right. In childhood probably is good, but not then, after. So he start feeling that, okay, I am something, and all the surrounding looks like not nice, is apart from this carer who comes to me, usually the beautiful mom, and nowadays probably mom and dad, and doesn't matter, some carer will come. So he start feeling that it's my body. It's look like I have a body, I can touch it. I have a carer, it's my carer, and my carer give me my food, which I like so much. And also I can enjoy myself and I have my toys. So it's all my, and the ego start to grow up and up and up, and I form my ego. It is me. It's I who is most important. And unfortunately I start to be confused that this I that I saw, it's me. While my other reality after death is totally different. It's totally connected to Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. But now I am separate. I have my personal space. I'm not allowing people to come closer to me. So ego, how does it live? And what does it live on? What brought ego to start with to the child is suffering. So ego is pain. Lives on pain. Lives on conflict. If there is no conflict, there is no ego. If I live in the world and I'm part of the world and there is no problem, I don't feel that I am me. And to keep this going, because ego wants to live, and ego, if you think about something, keep on running, think in your mind. This is the other name for waswas al-khannas. We always think about waswas al-shaitan, but you can call anything. You can call it anything. Something keep on running in your head. I'm sure you felt that before. You are totally doing something different, and something keep on running in your head. Do that. Okay, and you want to change, and just keep on going. This is the waswas, and this is because if it doesn't do that, it dies. So it has to do that. And this is the continuous illusion. So it keeps on activity. It keeps on being active. Once it's stopped, it's a problem. Right, so it keeps on growing and growing until I feel that I am the first one. I am, my personal ego is my first thing. To understand this more, let's take another hero of Islam, and that is Ibrahim alayhi salam. When Ibrahim, and Ibrahim, he's the man who smashed the idols. He destroyed the idols, and then when he destroyed it, he left the axe with the biggest idol, right? And he reached to that level. They want to burn him, and he doesn't care about that. So he is really the idol destroyer. Now let's see when he talks, what he will say. When Ibrahim said, "My Lord, make this land secure," that's after he built Kaaba, "and keep me and my sons away from worshipping idols." Now this is like 60 years after he smashed the idols. He's still worried, and he's praying to Allah that he does not want to worship idols. What does he mean?
Things standing in his way between him and Allah.
Right. So which idols he's worried about? Ego. He's worried about the biggest idol, the one with the axe, because that's the one that we have not destroyed yet. So which idol he's worried about? It is the biggest worrying idol for Ibrahim is this ego. So we have to ask ourselves, who are we surrendered to? Are we surrendered to the will of God or to the will of me? To what Allah wants or to what other gods wants? And in particular, that one with axe, the I. Is it I want or what Allah wants? This is the big question for us. In this life we kill many idols. So for example, I have the idol of loving music, for example. I killed it, and then I have the idol of eating, and I try to kill it, and I keep on killing, but a new idol keep on forming. Why? Because this big idol with X is still alive. If I control that, because me is still worshipped. And from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi الشرك أخفى في قلب بني آدم من دبيب نملة سوداء في ليلة ظلماء على صخرة صماء. Polytheism, and we think, what's polytheism? This is an old ancient thing. We think that we are not polytheist anymore, We are Muslims. Or if anything, we progress to be an atheist. We don't regress for polytheism. But polytheism in the heart of a human is more hidden than the walk of a black ant. And in the darkest of nights, on the hardest of rock, and the hard rock does not give echo. So it's really very fine. We cannot see it or feel it. And that's how shirk can be in our hearts. So practically, normally when we want to do anything, we go to seek an expert opinion, isn't it? And if they are not expert, we go to better expert. So if I want to build a house, I go to a builder. If I'm sick, I go to a doctor. If I have toothache, I go to a dentist. But I would not go to a dentist to build a house. It just doesn't make a sense. So who's the best in religion? Who is the best in my hereafter? Is Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. And He gave me the Islam to go for Him. Unfortunately, we do disagree with this expert. So this expert tells me that I have to do hijab, I have to pay khumus. And I said, with all due respect for your opinion, but I preserve my opinion. I have my opinion in this particular matter. So in khums, I think I do disagree in that. Right? And unfortunately, we do that. We do think that we have a choice in front of His choice. In reality, we don't. But we think and we keep on destroying ourselves by that. So the only way to reach Islam is to remove the I-ness. And if we do, we understand this beautiful, beautiful thing. قُلْ إِنَّ صَلَاتِي وَنُسُكِي وَمَحْيَايَ وَمَمَاتِي لِلَّهِ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. It's beautiful actually when you understand like that. Say, my prayer, my offering, all what I do, my life, and my death. My death is now. I'm removing this I-ness. Is for you, Allah, the Lord of the world. This is the ayah that we usually say it in the niyyah of salah. So if we feel it, my prayer, all what I do, my life, and the death now I'm trying to come out of this ego is all for you, oh my Lord. So to reach I want that I don't want, we have to remove this illusion that I have authority. I really don't. I am not in the driving seat. He is in the driving seat. Because sometimes I think that I am in the driving seat and I'm just telling Him, okay, I'm giving it to you. And that's not the reality. And also He never actually done that. He's always in the driver's seat. He didn't give it to us and then He's taking it back. We need to realize He is the one who has the authority. And to understand this ayah in Surah Al-An'am, a day when no soul will have a power to do anything for another, and the command, this is the authority, on that day will belong to Allah. Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam, talking to Jabir, he told him, O Jabir, the whole command and authority is to Allah in the day of judgment as it is today. It's not that today I have the authority and the day of judgment is His. It's the same. It's just here I have the illusion of my ego, which makes me going differently. So on this note, inshallah, next time we will try to understand more. How can we reach to know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and what are the obstacles in front of us? Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.